We're fine.
All right, we're good.
Speaker on. Are you gonna get everybody to turn their speaker on?
Yeah, y'all might turn your microphones on.
Y'all turn your microphones on and leave them on. But don't be talking, you be recorded.
It is all now.
Get your button on. Get your button on top.
I did.
All right, we ready?
Yes, sir.
Welcome. As we call this meeting to order on this, the 21st day of May, 2024, at 6 p.m. for a regular council meeting. As we stand, we will ask Cliff McElfresh to come up and give us our invocation, and Stephen Strong, council member number 1, District 1, is going to lead us in the pledges. Come on up, Mr. Cliff.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's bow our head. Dear Heavenly Great Father, I want to thank the time you have given us here, Father. I want to thank every city council and women, mayor and city manager, to do the right thing for the city. And everything they make, this decision, is based on you, Father. Father, I pray for each and every one that came here tonight, Father. And officers that are retiring and leaving and going places, I pray you put your hand over them too, Father. And the one that's getting promoted, I put your hand over them and protect our police department here. Protect our military people, fight for our country for us to have this time. That's in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Let's place our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And our state flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Now it's time for citizens' comments. We have 3 people in line here. I think Mr. Glenn Spears will be first up. Mr. Spears, you signed up first, so just step right on up to the microphone, please.
I'll do my best to be brief since I only got 3 minutes. I'm here not to complain, but just to draw your attention. Have issues out there on my street where I've been living for the past 54 years. I've been up here, I've climbed the stairs, I've talked to the person there. I have called on the telephone and nothing has been done yet. Not a single thing. They say, yeah, we'll take care of it. Nothing has been done. So I thought I would come and try to see you folks and see if you could get somebody moving and get out there to my street. I just want to have the same services as everybody else. The people down from my street had their ditches cleaned out about 2 months ago. Mine hasn't been touched in years. I got a log on my street. How many of you go to bed at night with a log on your street? I have a picture here of front of my house where the mail truck comes every day. It has to go through a mud puddle 6 days a week. She never complains, but it shouldn't be there. It's a big hole there close to my mailbox. It hasn't been anything done to it yet. I have other issues out there. There's a big limb that hangs down, and I can actually walk on the street and reach up and touch it. It's right there where the garbage truck stops and empties my garbage. I have to now move it back so that the garbage truck can come and dump my garbage into the truck as they do. So all I'm here for is to ask you to consider these requests and make my street livable, just like everybody else's. And down on the end of my street, where it meets Highway 79, there's limbs, branches, parts of the trees, been in the ditches, been in there for over a year. They hadn't been moved. There's branches that's broke off through all these storms. They're still there. They haven't been moved. We got vegetation growing out into our passageway. My street's not very wide, so I have a picture here of a vine hanging down right in front of my house. If you don't duck a little bit, you'll hit it. So, gentlemen and ladies, all I'm asking that you consider this, not consider it, but get some action. I have my guy here. I never even met you before, and you're my what do you call him, district man?
Yes, sir.
I would contact you, but I didn't even know who you are.
Really?
Yes, I would ask you and try to see if you could get something done, but so far, Henry has helped me out a little bit, but there's still nothing has been done.
Mr. Spears, can I ask you to state your address, please?
305 Hubbard
Right.
Drive.
305.
Thank you.
All right. And that's all I have to say.
Glenn, thanks for coming. We will address this.
You will address it?
Thank you.
Thank you. How soon do you think it'll be?
I can't give you that information,
Coming ahead?
but it won't be 3 years. Let me assure you. Yeah.
Do you have time for me to show you these pictures? No?
Well, I already know what it looks like. I've already been out there.
Yeah?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I found out about, the connection here with Reggie, and so I drove out there. I saw what you're
Well,
talking
are you in agreement with what I'm telling you?
Yes, sir. I'll have to say that, yeah.
Thanks
Thanks.
to all of you.
Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you.
Okay. We got another one here. Now, Mr. Greer signed up. Second Greer. Mr. Greer, 1612 North Heights
Thank you.
Street. 1612 North Heights.
Good evening. My name is James Creer. I live at 1612 North High Street here in the city. What I want to talk about is the streets in the Crimcrest edition, the eastern part of Crimcrest. Mockingbird Street comes out and hit West Main right there at Henderson Rehab facility. Mockingbird has grown up to the point where the shrub is grown out in the streets. In some areas, it's grown out so much until you have to find a place wide enough to pull over park to let another car pass by. And in one particular area, there's limbs and vines have fallen down in the street and makes it difficult for cars to pass by. That's on Mockingbird, Monroe Street, and Crim Street is the main ones that growed up. There's not a whole lot of people that live over there, but there's still people that live in that area. However, there's two churches there. Allen Grove Baptist Church, and it's another church down below there, a Church of God in Christ Church. So there's two churches in that area. Both of them is on, both of the churches on the same street. And it makes it difficult when you have, especially when you have out of town guests coming and they have trouble getting in. Mr. Pace there, he's our district city councilman. And he works for Gorman Funeral Home, and we had a funeral over there, and they had a tough time getting all those cars and through that particular area to get to the church. And I've talked to the city, the people that's responsible for cleaning up that area, and they promised me that they were going to get something done, but had nothing been done yet. And this area goes lacking every year. It gets to be worse and worse each year. But I'd like for the city to do something to try to get that area opened up and cleared out where we can have a good passageway through that particular area. So that's in the Crimcrest, eastern part of the Crimcrest addition, Markenberry Street, Crim Street, and Monroe Street are the main ones. Those are the main streets that really we travel quite often that really need something done. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Okay, number 3 would be Eileen Johnson. Mrs. Eileen Johnson, 1606 Cindy Lou.
Good evening.
Yes.
My name is Eileen Garland Johnson, and I reside at 1606 Cindy Lou Avenue here in Henderson. I'm a hometown resident of Henderson with a long lineage of family history in Henderson. I graduated from Henderson High School in 1982, and after 36 years of education, I retired from HISD in 2023 in June. I was the Director of Special Education and previously was a teacher of students with disabilities and an educational diagnostician for the district. But I would like to share a concern about a recent incident that occurred at the Lakewood Cemetery on Saturday, May 18th, 2024. My sister, Sammy Sarkey, a hometown and longtime resident of Henderson, was funeralized on Henderson, and her burial, on Saturday, her burial was at Lakewood Cemetery. Now, here's a brief review of the incident that occurred. Ms. Sarkey's gravesite final rite service was a short distance from her actual grave. That we were informed that it was due to the recent rains, and the graveside attendants were pumping water out of the grave when we arrived. The pallbearers, which were our male family members, and they were our nephews and my sons, ranged from age of 17 to 50. They were instructed to transport her body to the actual grave. Upon transporting her body to the final resting location, they were instructed to place her casket on the ground near the open grave, and then they were dismissed by the gravesite burial committal staff. However, after about 10 to 12 seconds or so, the pallbearers were summoned to return to the grave and the casket, and at that point, I felt as though they were no longer pallbearers, but they were now graveside workers. And they were in their Sunday suits, their Sunday best, semi-formal attire, with graveside, the actual graveside worker and the supervisor, in my opinion, were acting as the overseers. They were instructed to ensure that the casket was parallel to the grave. They were given some 2-inch straps and instructed to place the straps under the casket. And then they were instructed on how to manually lower the casket into the grave. Well, to this long and unorthodox short story, during this transfer to the grave by these untrained, uncontracted, and free labor graveside workers, my sister's casket tilted and fell into the grave on its side. Our sons, our nephews were emotional, they were mortified, and of course they were distraught. My older son, and one nephew jumped into the grave in an attempt to righten their aunt's casket, while another one of my nephews laid down on the ground to assist from above ground in order to try to make sure that they could get the casket turned back over. As all of this case was going on, neither of the contracted graveside staff workers helped with the attempt to transfer the body into the grave, nor even assisted in trying to correct the casket. My son, who is a retired disabled Air Force veteran, I'll be honest, shared a couple of choice words to this situation and to the idle graveside workers. And following all this mayhem, then I went to the funeral home staff and to the graveside workers and to inquire about this entire situation. Of course, I was also livid, mortified, and I asked numerous questions about this entire debacle. I asked if there was a lowering apparatus as typically used, and I was told that they were given the wrong dimensions of the casket and that the lowering device was not operable because the grave's dimensions were too large. I asked about the vault, meaning the box or whatever it is that's required, and I was told that there was not one. Well, I disagreed with that answer, and I told them that I knew that because I have several family members at this cemetery, and most recently, just 2 months ago, the burial of my brother. I instructed them at that point, after they straightened it up, to stop at this moment while I contacted my niece and my nephew, of course, who's the children of my sister, to not proceed any further with this burial and then I walked away. So via telephone, then my niece and my nephew opted to go ahead with the committal of the body and the closing of the grave at that time. They were not aware that they had the option prior to all this that it could have gone back to the funeral home. After further explanation in all of this, I decided I'd go ahead and explain to my niece and nephew. So on Monday, my sister and I made an appointment to talk to Miss Laura Farquhar about this issue. And upon arrival, honestly, we were surprised that she had invited 2 City Henderson public service managers or employees, etc., I'm assuming, to the meeting. Because I thought their inclusion in the meeting was quite odd. I did not go into detail about the request for the meeting when I asked for the meeting call for it. My niece participated in the meeting via phone conference since they reside in Mesquite. At any rate, I'm here tonight to request some clarification for the following questions regarding to protocol, procedures, responsibility for burial, and final committal to grave services at Lakewood Cemetery. One is, what are the standards and requirements for the pallbearers once the body has been delivered to the final resting place? And I know typically, because I've gone to funerals, the funeral home says, thank you so much for your service after they've delivered the body, and that's it. They're done. The other question is, what are the requirements and responsibilities of the grave site burial crew for the committal of the body? Because they didn't appear to know what it was. Is there a requirement or standard for the use of standardized equipment for the committal of the body and the casket to the grave? Typically, I've seen that it sits on this thing and they use this crane or whatever, and it goes down smoothly. What are the standards and requirements for the committal of when it's excessive rainfall? Because there was lots of water in there, and they told us we couldn't go there because it was too wet. But actually, when I walked over there and I had on heels, my shoes, nothing happened to my shoes. So I don't know what the plan was and why everything had to change. That's just my personal opinion. And who's responsible for ensuring that the standards, the procedures, the protocols are followed during the committal of any body at the Henderson City cemeteries or, of course, at Lakewood for the body to the grave? And what are the standards and requirements for the city of Henderson for the committal of bodies at city cemeteries? So in conclusion, I would appreciate some responses, some answers to these questions and concerns for my family and for any other families and residents of Henderson. I also have a formal written response from my niece. I know I don't have time to share it, but she took the time to write it out because it was very emotional. As you can tell, I'm still very emotional. I just don't understand how anybody would have to jump inside their aunt or uncle or grandparent or mom, dad, sister, whomever it is, grave, when the other 2, and it was only 2, that was just standing there watching. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense to me. And it is very emotional for me and my entire family and my sons and my nephews. And I would like for someone to figure it out and tell me what's going on. When we met, we were told this is not the city's issue. Okay, fine, it's not the city's issue. Then we said, okay, well, it's Jackson Monument, I think. There you need to contact, try to contact. She actually called. Quite interesting conversation during the time we were in there. That's all I'm going to say about that. And then we contacted Southern Funeral Home because she said that she said that it was their responsibility and they take responsibility for it. And then it also kind of turned out, well, the guys had no business jumping in the hole. So we're not going to cover up with her casket on its side. So somebody had to jump in the hole. So I don't understand, and that's my problem. I'm trying to figure out, do we have procedures, processes, protocol that we're required for the city of Henderson for burial purposes? Thank you so much. And I do have documents to give to you guys.
Yes, ma'am. Give Miss Jemerson your phone number, if you don't mind, or if you can get a hold of you, where we can get a hold of you. Sounds like a cluster. Man.
And we can make extracted.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Okay, we'll proceed on with the consent agenda. Any item on the consent agenda can be voted on with one vote. Anyone needing to move one of these items needs to speak up now, council members. And if we need to do that, if not, do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda at this time?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Consent agenda stands approved at this time.
Mayor, if it please the council, I'd like to make a motion to move item 18 to now. We have a little time constraint.
Okay.
Got a little issue.
Not a problem. Okay, we'll start out with item number 18. Consideration upon the first reading of ordinance 2024-05-04, amending Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinances enforcing sex offenders' residency restrictions. I think we have someone from the police department here, a couple of guys here that can present this to us.
Members of the council. The police department would like to bring forward a city ordinance to impose stricter rules and regulations on convicted sex offenders. Excuse me. And it's intended to protect our children in our community and make it safer. Lieutenant Sullivan's the one who worked on the drafting of this ordinance. I'm going to turn it over to him. He's going to have all the details and be able to answer the questions.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you all very much, Mr. Abercrombie, and Brown, Ms. Cheryl. Here a couple of years ago, I looked into a proposed idea of trying to make some child safety zones in the city of Henderson and did a little research. And there were no cities around us at that time that had anything like that. And then once I made lieutenant here a couple of years ago over CID, I had been taking care of the sex offender registration for the past 12, 13 years or so. And we'd had some instances in the past where this ordinance would have given the police department another tool. We had a registered high-risk sex offender that was allegedly cruising around the middle school. Don't know for what reason. Whether it was nefarious or not, I don't know. But this would have been a tool that law enforcement could have used to kind of quell that and keep that from happening. So I had made contact with an investigator over at Tyler Police Department. I saw where they had enacted a city ordinance over there that identified child safety area zones, which are schools, daycares, nurseries, playgrounds, obviously places where children gather and play or are educated. And spoke with an investigator over there, and he was very helpful. He provided us with a copy of their ordinance over there. And thanks to the diligent efforts of Mr. Brown, since he has taken over as our city attorney here, he has the proposed city ordinance provided to you. What this does is, just to highlight a few things, there are instances in the past where I've had sex offenders that registered within the city limits of Henderson that wanted to move back and forth from a couple of different locations. One in particular, he moved to Longview. He would stay over there for 6 months, 8 months or whatever, get into some kind of issue with a family member or a girlfriend or something, and then want to move back to Henderson. Well, this ordinance would prevent that from happening again if they were living within 1,000 feet of a child safety zone. Granted, it's a Class C misdemeanor, punishable by a fine up to $500 if found guilty. But it gives law enforcement another tool to kind of help keep the children of the city of Henderson, all children of the city of Henderson, safe. And puts a little bit more pressure on these guys to do right and act right or move away. My thing is, I would just assume they all move out of the city of Henderson, and we wouldn't have to worry about them. But anyway, that's the gist of the ordinance. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have. I don't know all the answers, but I'll do my best.
Good.
There's a lot of particulars in here, I think, that, that Mr. Brown could probably answer a little bit better than I could. But like I said, this is just one more thing as a tool for law enforcement and for the city of Henderson, just to show our citizens that we're doing our best to protect our kids.
Since this is the first reading of this ordinance, there'll be no vote. However, if you do have questions, now's the time to ask them, or you can wait and ask them at the next council meeting when we go to the second reading. Apparently, there's no questions. Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.
Now we'll move to item number 5 on the agenda. Item number 5 is going to be changed just a little bit. It will read as this: consideration of renaming Emma Street to Rockmore Street, authorizing an ordinance to be put in place in the name change. Okay, so
I had a request from Cheryl. There she is, Cheryl, on the Emma Street name, and we kind of went through all the procedures, and she reached out to John Doolin with the Historical Society, and there's no significance to Emma Street name, and Miss Rockmore has lived there for 101 years. So it's very significant, and that short street, Emma Street, only has members of their family that owns the properties. But she did follow the procedures, do the petition, and got all their names, signatures, phone numbers on here. And her request is if it would be the pleasure of the council to go ahead and give us direction to start an ordinance changing the street name to Rockmore Street.
this is also a no vote, and so it'll just be a information only thing, but we do need y'all to direct Cheryl as to, is it okay to go ahead and do this?
It is okay to go ahead and change Emma Street to Rockmore Street.
There you go.
Thank you. I would like to go ahead and just present Ms. Cheryl with something to take back to Ms. Rockmore, because she wasn't able to attend.
Okay.
So, congratulations, and we'll get started on it.
Thank you.
I don't know why we having all these surprises in my district. I don't know anything about it.
Well, now you know.
I would like to know about it, but it happens sometimes.
I understand. All right. So we'll move forward here to item number 6 on the agenda. That's consideration and possible action on a Stokes & Associates agreement to furnish engineering services for the street contract number 24. Mr. Brown?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. So yes, this is a work order, an agreement with Stokes & Associates, and I'm sure Bill can answer any and all questions you have for the next street program, which project contract, which is one next to mine, and the same phasing that we've been doing for 20-something years now. The list of streets are there. Price for this for them to be engineered, it's $115,000. And just ask for your approval to get this started and going and rolling.
I make a motion that we approve this item.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Okay, item number 6 stands approved. Thank you, Mr. Brown. Item number 7 on the agenda is consideration and possible action upon possible utility infrastructure upgrade or replacement related to street contract number 24.
Yes, Council, Neil's here to answer any questions after I get finished. There's 4 streets that need water line replacement. They have reached the end of their service life. They've been installed from 1952 to 1964. Some of them are galvanized, some of them are cast iron. But anyway, they reached the end of their service life, and there's no need in putting a new street over an old water line. The only other issue we may have is on Slayton Street. There's a section of sewer main that may need to be replaced.
Yes, sir. I mean, it's pretty typical. Anytime that we're going to redo a street, certainly we want to look at the utilities, see if there are any issues there. And in this case, these are dire needs that these be replaced before the street work's done.
Yeah.
The 4 streets I have listed are like St. Paul, Neal, Bell, Bell?
Got it right here. Buford, Lewis, Neal, and St. Paul.
St. Paul. And then sewer on Slate.
Sewer. Okay. Any questions? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion we approve item number 7.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Item number 7 stands approved. Item number 8 on the agenda is consideration and possible action upon a preliminary major plat for 7 acres to be cut out of a 381.36 acre tract known as the Wiley Farm. Mr. Williams, I think you've got that one.
Yes, sir. Well, this, we're going to cut 7 acres out of that for Christus Emergency Center. And I guess this is in our ETJ, so it's going to require your approval for this.
Yeah.
And I guess if there's any questions on that again.
Planning and zoning met earlier this week. They reviewed the 7-acre plat and approved it and made a recommendation to council.
Okay. Any questions? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Item number 8 stands approved. Item number 9 is to open the second public hearing on the City of Henderson proposed annexation of TxDOT transportation right-of-way into the city limit, including parts of Loop 571, State Highway 323, and Farm to Market 2276.
Yes, and this is the second hearing for the annexation of us being able to annex in the right-of-way of the state highways that's going to coincide with the properties that are coming into the city.
Any questions regarding that? I think Jay's got it up on the screen. Here, if you need to look, get a review. That was probably in your packet also. Okay. No questions? Okay. That's the information. We'll move to item number 10 and vote on it. Consideration and possible action upon closing the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Public hearing stands closed at this time. Now we'll go to item number 11. Consideration upon the first reading of ordinance 2024-05-01 on the proposed annexation for parts of TxDOT right-of-way on Loop 571, State Highway 323, and Farm to Market 2276. That's in as much the same as I just read. Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Item number 11 stands approved. Item number 12 on the agenda is to open the second public hearing on the City of Henderson proposed voluntary annexation of the Jim Allen Estate on Loop 571 and FM 2276, now owned and submitted by HEDCO. Cheryl?
Yes, this would be the same thing. It's just a second public hearing, just asking for comments or questions from
Council.
the annexation application from HEDCO.
Okay.
Jim Allen Estate, I believe, was 88 acres that's going to be coming in.
Yeah.
Roughly 86.
Okay. 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 With no questions coming forward, we'll move to item number 13 and we'll vote on it to close the public hearing. Consideration and possible action upon closing the public hearing.
I make a motion we close. Second. Item 13.
Okay. We have a second. Did I hear one?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Item number 13 stands approved and close the public hearing. Item number 14 on the agenda, consideration upon the first reading of ordinance 2024-05-02 on the proposed annexation of the Jim Allen Estate owned by HEDCO located on the corner of Loop 571 and 2276.
Well, I apologize. I didn't realize I put that on there twice.
Okay, we read it twice.
We want to make sure that one gets in the city limits.
That's not a problem. Okay. All right, so with that being said.
No, that's the first reading of the ordinance. The other one's a public hearing.
Oh, that's the
Oh,
first reading.
okay, okay. Well, we're not gonna, we can't vote on that anyway. That's just for information only. But we'll go to item number 15 now. Open the second public hearing on the City of Henderson proposed voluntary annexation of an application for the East Texas Regional Business Park located on the corners of Loop 571, State Highway 323, and Farm to Market 2276 owned by HEDCO. This will be the second.
Yeah, and that's just the second public hearing for the East Texas Regional Business Park for HEDCO.
Right.
All of those properties will be connected by these streets.
Right.
So it's just crossing the loop and taking in those properties.
All right. No questions coming forward, we'll move to item number 16 and approve and closing the public hearing. Consideration and possible action upon closing the public hearing.
I make a motion we close agenda item number 16.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Public hearing stands closed at this time. Item number 17 is consideration upon the first reading of ordinance 2024-0503 on the proposed annexation of the East Texas Regional Business Park owned by HEDCO, located on the corner of 571 and State Highway 323 and Farm to Market 2276. Okay. First reading.
And that's just the first reading of the ordinance for the same property.
Yeah, no vote. We'll skip to number 19 on the agenda, consideration upon a recommendation from the Planning and Zoning Commission and first reading of ordinance 2024-0505, changing the zoning from R1, a residential zone, to IS, which is an institutional zone for the Rusk County Emergency Services District, located at 1515 Whippoorwill. Mr. Williams? There he is.
Yes, sir. Yes, this one just cleaning the zoning up on that, changing it from the residential to the institutional.
Okay.
And I said staff and P&Z recommend approval of this.
Okay. Everybody knows where this is. This is the old VFW building. Right. Okay. So, no voting on that. It's the first reading. Okay, let's move to item number 20. Consideration and possible action upon a minor plat request submitted by Rado and Nancy De Leon to subdivide 1500 Price Street into 2 lots. Also, Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir. There's 2 residents on this lot, 2 houses on this lot, and staff does recommend approval of this also. Yes, it meets the minimum size for the lots, whatever, and separate utilities, so it's good on our part.
Any questions for Mr. Williams? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Item number 20 stands approved. Number 21, consideration and possible action upon a contract for auditing services with Gallup Morgan & Petty, CPA, for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2024. Karen, I believe you've got
This is just asking to approve the engagement letter with Gallup Morgan Petty for the auditing services for our year we're in right now, so ending September 30th, 2024. They've performed our audit past 5 years, and so we've had a good working relationship with them. This is usually in consent, but we went ahead for Councilmember Morton and pulled it out so that she doesn't have to say, please pull that out.
Well, I'm sorry, you don't have to pull it out anymore because my son's not working there.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh, good. That's good.
Let's
That's
put that
good.
thank you to consent.
All right. That solved the problem. Okay. Any questions? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
Well, since my son is not working there anymore, I will make a motion to
There
approve.
you go. There you go.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Item number 21 stands approved. Council, I think y'all have all the departmental reports in your packet. Have any questions? And any of the people are here that y'all need to speak to about it? They're here. Reggie, you got anything you need to ask? Anything?
You might not be right, but you know, I've got some all the time. I'm just in hope that we've heard the request of the people tonight. Okay? And I
Yeah.
hope something is done so the people can see that we are working for the people.
Yes.
All right?
I appreciate that
I
comment.
will.
Thank you.
Something there.
All right. I think you also have reports from boards and commissions. You can read that there. Looks like there's no executive session. Is that correct, Cheryl?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn at 6:47 p.m.
I will make a motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made and seconded. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Aye.
Oh, we have to be warned.
Yeah,